Welcome back. Today I'm going to try to solve some puzzles over on chess.com as part of my daily chess development. If you're new to the channel, I'm not a titled player or a chess coach. I'm not here to teach you how to play chess or to entertain you. I'm here teaching me how to play chess. Hopefully some of you will get something out of it, and hopefully a few of you might be able to contribute to my development by, pointing out stuff that I missed or didn't understand. I'm going to click puzzles, and last time I made it to 2386. I'm again hoping to break 2400. I've been above 2400 and dropped back down. The first thing that I do on my new puzzles checklist is I do the material count. Here our pieces are even, but my opponent is up a pawn, and their king is a little bit more open than mine is, but not much. Another thing I look for is tactical motifs. I'm taking that to mean look for things like skewers, pens, forks, hanging pieces, possible checkmate sequences, the kinds of things that puzzles are trying to teach us about chess. In here, one thing I do notice is that this queen is undefended, but I can't just skewer it to the king, like this, because they could just block that with their rook. But the queen being undefended might come into play at some point later. But I can even up the pawn count right now by checking here, and checks is another thing that I look for. I look for checks, captures, and threats. I don't have any immediate captures in this puzzle other than that pawn, which is also a check. I'm not sure where the king would go. If I took that, it might try to come toward my rook, but I don't think it would come up here to the, to the G file because of my queen can come this way. And then I would have, a queen and a rook sitting right there. And then I think that would actually be checkmate. So I think if I checked by taking the H7 pawn, their king would have to go back and it might come back toward the rook, but I'm not sure. Let's see. If it went back to G8, I still could bring my queen and check. But then they could take the rook, but then I could check with my other rook and, oh, they would take it. Okay, so that's not good. Okay, so this might not be the answer because it looks like they can just step toward my rook and then I have to figure out something pretty quick. Okay, threats. Let's go back to the skewer idea where I put my rook here. They're not going to take because I have another rook and a queen guarding that square, but they could very easily block that skewer with the rook. And then if I took that rook and then they took back, their queen is still undefended. Oh, and now their other rook would be undefended. And then I could skewer with the other rook. Wait, is that what it is? If I skewer here, they block with the rook. I take the rook, which re-skewers their queen to the king, so they couldn't move it, so they would probably take the rook. Then I put my other rook here, and they can't move their queen. And if they took that rook, I would take with my queen, and I would be ahead. That actually seems fairly simple for a puzzle that should be rated this high, and I'm not sure if that's what it is, but just glancing around while I was talking, I really didn't see anything else. Like, it doesn't make sense to move a pawn or another pawn. Doesn't make sense to move my king. Well, I can't move it there. Doesn't make sense to, give away my queen or something. I think I'm going to try, the rook to F1 idea because I don't see a different way out for them. Now, they don't have to take back there, but if they don't, I'll get their queen. I mean, they could check me. I could just take that and they could check me and then I'd put my king back, but I think they would block. All right, I'm going to try it. Okay, then, well, the only reason I did it was because of this idea. And then here, oh, they took that. Well, nothing makes sense other than taking the queen. Okay, I'm surprised that last move was included. Oh, and I feel really good about myself. This one only has a 30% pass rate, 30.6. Okay, so this time tactical motifs did come in handy. Not only was the queen undefended at the beginning, but it was on the same file as the king where I could attack it. That felt pretty simple, but it's a 2000 rated puzzle. I think one thing that made it seem simple is because nothing else made sense. I kept thinking about this check idea at first, but that was just pretty easy to get out of. That's a good start. Next puzzle. Material count. We each have a rook. We each have 2 minor pieces. We each have a queen. We each have 5 pawns. My pawn's passed. I'm pretty sure I'm not supposed to take the knight because my queen is undefended. I don't have any checks, do I? Well, nope. Sorry, I do have a check. Pretty sure that's not a good idea. Okay, so checks are out of the way. I skipped tactical motifs. Let's look at that. Again, they have an undefended queen. Is there anything I can do about that? I could defend my queen by moving the rook over or the bishop back or the bishop up, but that gives them time to defend their queen too. They can also defend their queen by going here. No, because I would take it. Okay, but yeah, they are going to have to move that knight pretty quick because in a game, that's another thing I try to think. It's not on my checklist, but I always try to think, what would I play here in a game? In a game here, I would probably try to defend my queen so that I could take the knight, but that just means the knight's going to move. So if I did defend my queen, say by playing bishop to D8, I mean, the knight could just go there. In here to E5, or drop back, or drop over here, or they could defend. They don't want to defend the knight. They want to move the knight. I think the reason that the opponent would have played here is trying to get me to take, especially if this is like a blitz game, and then they would get my queen, and my rook would be hanging. Somebody said in the comments under one of my videos the other day, when I had trouble coming up with a candidate move, they said at some point you might just have to look at every legal move. Like, what are all the moves you have available? And so maybe I need to do that. Like my queen. My queen can go all kinds of places to get out of this problem here where that pawn is pinned to my queen. All kinds of places. I don't want to go to any of those squares because they can just take my queen. I don't know what good it would do to go to d6 or d1 or b6. Or any of these light colored squares. I also don't want to go forward. That looks pretty bad. Sorry, my phone is just chirping away in the background. Sorry, I had a whole flurry of text messages come in that I needed to respond to, and now I forgot what I was talking about. But from the arrows that I left on screen, it looks like I was exploring all the possible legal moves because I couldn't come up with a candidate move. Looks like the ones I marked in blue are dangerous ones because of their pawns and or knight. And I couldn't think of a reason to go to any of these others, but what about the one I hadn't marked yet? I think that's the only other square my queen can go to right now is a5. What does that do? Oh, it points at the rook. Okay. Oh, and it gets the queen out of danger of that pawn being pinned. But the rook is defended by the knight, but the knight's going to move because I'm about to take it. Or maybe because they would know that, they would move the rook instead. Okay, so maybe I did come up with a candidate move by using the every legal move idea. If this doesn't turn out to be promising, I'm just going to explore every other legal move on the board. But let's say that I play my queen to a5. If they don't move the rook or the knight at that point, I don't know what else they would do, but then I could take the knight. If they did move the knight at that point to save it from that pawn, then I could take the rook with check. Although, looks like I might get my queen trapped in there. No, it could always come back. So if they move the rook, then I get the knight. Maybe that's it. Does it work with anything else? Does it work if no, that doesn't work. Okay. Although that would just be an even trade because of no, it wouldn't be an even trade because then they would have two attackers on this pawn. I don't know. I've spent a bunch of time on this. Okay, let's do it. Queen to a5. Oh, I probably should have asked where would they move the rook because my rook's not defended. I can defend my rook or I could just take theirs because their knight's still hanging. If I take their rook, that's a check. They either have to move out of check, in which case I get their knight, or they take back, in which case I get their knight. But then they could take back and I would take and they would take and I would just I would be up a knight for a pawn. Is that enough? I don't know, but I'm pretty sure I have to take that rook. But yeah, you see how their bishop and queen are still both guarding that. So they're going to get the pawn back. But that's got to be it. Going up a piece, and I would lose my passed pawn, but going up a piece has to be significant here. Okay, wow. That one was a little exhausting mentally. And as I might have mentioned in a few previous videos, I'm a little out of practice because I've had gaps between most of these last few videos, days worth of gaps. So I feel out of practice both with speaking and with, doing chess stuff. But good. I'm glad that worked out. Next puzzle. Material count, my opponent is up a piece, the bishop, and that is significant. Otherwise, we're even, I think. We both have 5 pawns symmetrically lined up here, but that bishop is a whole extra piece, which I don't think I should take it. Tactical motifs, the rook is undefended, and that pawn's undefended. I can get the pawn right now, but I don't know how much that helps me. Oh, they could get my pawn too, but not if I got theirs first. Wait, is it that pawn? Because then I'm lined up over here? That would be incredible, wouldn't it? Aside from their rook being undefended and their king being trapped on the back rank, I don't see other tactical motifs. But let's look at checks. There's a check. Move. Wait, that's safe, right? Because their pawns are going this way, so I don't have to worry about their pawn taking me. I worried about that just for a second, but that's a check. They have 3 legal moves. King can move to f8 to h8, or they could block with the rook. I don't think they'll block with the rook because I would take with check, and their king would be left with those same 2 choices. So is it a check? What happens if the king moves over there? I suppose I could come in here. Oh, and then I would be guarding my pawn, incidentally. Going in here to threaten mate. What would they do? Check. King goes over there. I don't think it would come the other way because that would be mate immediately. The king would go to h8, and I would still go to f7. Can they stop that? Once I'm in here, what can they do? They can check me, and I would take their queen. Oh, wait. They can check me here. Okay, because that second one wouldn't be check. This is a check. They have to respond. Let's say they go that way and I come down to f7. They're worried about mate. Not here. I said that earlier, but their bishop's guarding that square. I would have to mate all the way over there. But anyway, I haven't done that yet, and it's their turn. I'm also threatening to take their rook, which is mate. I would have 2 mate threats there. Okay, so let's say I'm there on f7. Do they play queen to f3 check? I would have 3 different choices to get out of check. Oh, wow. And one of them would probably be really bad. Or maybe two of them would be really bad. Is it going to go that far? Also, I don't know if that up there is the right answer. I'm going to do it. I'm going to play queen to d5 check because I really don't see anything else, and I'm going to run out of time at some point. It looks good to start with. I just don't know how it's going to end. Well, my idea was to go here. But as long as they can't keep checking me, I will still have my mate threat. So I think it is queen to f7 and not checking immediately with the rook. Because I think when they go there, I drop to g1. I don't want to go to f1, probably because they could check me down there and then I could get out. I don't know. I'm going to play queen to f7. Okay. So I called that from the beginning. But now, as I said, I have three choices. Okay, so one of them's better. Otherwise, the puzzle wouldn't still be going. Of my three choices, I think we should be able to eliminate them one by one, right? I want the one that allows me to checkmate here in a move or two. King to h2 allows a follow-up check. No, it doesn't. No, not even that. King to h2 allows them to take my f2 pawn with check. And then it's perpetual, right? Because we just go back and forth here. Check. I can't make any other move, and they're going to keep checking me, probably to keep me from checkmating them. Okay, so I think king to h2's out. I don't win that way. We stalemate at best for me. Maybe they even have something better. I don't know. So let's X that one out. So what about king to g1? Can they check me again? Well, they can, but I would just get their queen. They could check me in either of those four squares, but then I would win their queen and I would still be threatening mate. Okay, so king to g1 looks good. And that's what I said earlier that I would probably play. What's wrong with king to f1? What's wrong with king to f1 is that they check me down. No, they won't. My rook is there. I said they would check me over here on the h file, and I would have to go up, and then they would come back, and I would have to run away, I guess. And then they take this pawn, and I'm in check again, and I can't go up because of the pawn and the bishop guarding those squares, so I would have to go down. Okay, so it's g1, probably. I'm going to go to g1. Oh boy. Oh, that one had a higher pass rate. Oh, you can't see it, but it's 54.5%. Was that harder than the second one? Oh, and I got above 2,400 again. Oh, that's good because I don't really have enough time to do another puzzle. Well, I feel good about that. And that one's rated 2393. I have a minute or so just out of curiosity. I wanted to see the problem with, let's see, what was the problem? F3 was best for them and it had to be G1. Okay, so the problem with F1 was, as I thought, that they check on H1 and I have to go up, only legal move. They come back and they either go down and we repeat, or if I did the other thing that I said, they're ahead again. Because like I said, they would take that pawn. Okay, I was right about that. And my problem with going over here was that they now have a mating sequence. Oh, see, I thought this was going to be all right, my phone's ringing. All right, pardon that second interruption. But yes, I'm confused here because I thought if we entered this situation, I would just go down and they would just check me and we would have a stalemate. But that's not the case because if I come down, it says they would go down, well, then I have to go back up. And they're going to throw away the bishop to get rid of that pawn. I have to take it. G1 prevents me from coming back here. Can't go there or there, so I have two choices. King to H4, so they would go to F2, which keeps me from coming back. Their pawn keeps me from coming here. Pawn keeps me from going here. I only have the one legal move to G5. They would come in a little bit closer. It doesn't matter which one of those I go to. It's mate in one. If I go to H6, they take my e-pawn, and that's checkmate because I can't go out there and I can't come up here because of the pawn. And if I go in here to F6, queen to H4 is mate because the rook's cutting off all this and their king's over there. Wow. I don't know if human opponents that I have played would have found all that. I think they would have easily found this, but then we probably just would have repeated. But I'm back over 2401 again. I've got to go. Thank you for spending your time here, and thank you again to those of you who have left so many helpful and supportive comments. I really appreciate that. I've probably mentioned several times, but we're having a little bit of tough time here in the household for reasons I don't need to get into here. So every bit of encouragement helps. Thank you. Hopefully you're doing well, and I'll see you next time.